are having a bad day, all I have to do is walk to the other end of the building or go to one of the other buildings and walk through and see students learning. It's amazing. As the middle school choir came in today, there were a group of those boys that you saw up here out in the hallway, and one of them says, "Can we hug you?" Of course, I've known them since they were this big, so the whole group of them ran up and gathered around and hugged me. So it's an amazing job. So this morning I was at the kindergarten building. I walked through and went into Mrs. McGlennick's classroom, and one of the boys ran up to me and said, "It's my brother's birthday today." And I said, "Great." Tell him I said, "Happy birthday." "How old is he?" He looked at me all confused, like, he's almost a kid. So, like I said, I have the greatest job in the world, and I appreciate being in North Ridgeville. It's an honor. So, I was going to spend some time going around and introducing some people, but we already did that, so I'm just going to thank and recognize some people. I'd like to recognize people from the city. Our city officials are outstanding. Our civic leaders in this community are wonderful. What's really great about them is they're very supportive and dedicated to our schools, and I really appreciate that. I'd like to recognize our administrative team. Again, what a group of professional educators. Just wonderful. They will try to do anything to better the education in the system. We have a new treasurer, Mike Verlingo. Mike, if you would stand up, I'd like for everyone to meet him. Mike has done an outstanding job since he's been here, and we're glad to have him. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
I'd like to recognize the board. Mr. Vaca he didn't tell you this before, but he's the president. So, Mr. Vaca. Kelly McCarthy is the vice president. Robin Moravik is a member. Marcy is a member, and then we have Rob Lyons is not here today, couldn't be here because of work, also a member. And finally, I'd like to recognize Neely Powell, my wife, for putting up with me and supporting a crazy schedule. So, thank you. Finally, I'd like to recognize our parents and students in the district. We have amazing parents that are very supportive, and our students are the best anywhere, and I really appreciate them. So let's move on. Last year we started the State of School speech with this slide, and this is a snapshot of the slide because I feel it's important that we have a strong vision of a preferred future. And this is the slide that we actually used last year. So we stated that we have a strong collaborative vision that is based on a preferred future that is supported by positive action. We're continuing to develop this strong vision as we plan to move into our new facility. And we feel that's extremely important because we want to move into that facility prepared and preparing our students for the future. So that's what we're working on in the district, planning for that transition. It's a huge transition. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But remember one thing, as I talk today, you're only going to see a snapshot of the things we do, very small snapshot of what we really do. And hopefully you'll get a sense of that vision as we work and go through this presentation. We know there's some essential elements that characterize a successful school district. We're working hard to put these elements into practice. First, it takes a group of highly effective educators. It takes shared accountability across the system that is supported by a strong vision. It takes learning environments that are focused on the future, and we're working on developing those learning environments and a vision of what those look like. You will hear other educators and us as well talk about 21st century learning a great deal, and we're working hard to put that into practice in our facilities. And finally, it takes equitable and adequate funding. So today you're going to hear me talk about four things: our fiscal stability, strong student achievement, that's based on their academic performance, and finally, it's based on us providing them enhanced academic opportunity. We also have to have strong relationships with our community, that being parents and other community members, our civic leaders, our businesses, and so forth. The way we work on doing that is through communications, and I'm going to focus a little bit on the communications practices that we have in the district as well. And finally, developing and maintaining quality facilities. This is a quick look, just a snapshot of our fiscal stability. And we are very lucky that we have such a supportive community that most recently passed an operating issue and a bond issue, and that has moved the system forward. So I can say that we have certainly a bright future based upon our fiscal stability. First, let's look at the top, your top left. You'll see up there that our revenues have grown over the past 4 years, starting in 2011, $33.4 million to June of 2014, $37.9 million. And if you look on the other side, you'll see our expenditures. And you'll see that we've been financially responsible. Our expenditures have gone down. Part of that is due to, back at that time, we were making lots of cuts and reductions back in 2011 because we were having some trouble financially. We were actually in a financial crisis. And the community supported us and helped us move forward. And now you can see that we still are maintaining that financial responsibility and doing a good job with our taxpayers' monies. If you look in the middle, you'll see the operating income loss. In 2011-12, we're operating in the red. And you'll see there in 2013 and 14, we're operating in the black and doing a great job. So we're very proud of this. Moving over here, you'll see our source of funds. We're supported by the community, 59% of our funds, the state, 35%, and the federal funds, and other non-tax funds at 6%. Moving over to the other side, you'll see our expenditures. And this doesn't tell the whole story, but look at salaries, wages, and benefits. You're talking about 77%. Purchase services. Now, some of those purchase services are services that actually provide human resource services to our students as well. And then supplies and equipment, 3%, and then other transfers at 4%. But if you look at education is a rich personnel service provider to our students. So about 86% or so of our funds actually go for personnel services, and that's important for everyone to know. I get teased because of winning, but I like seeing him fly across through there. So we're on a journey of achievement. I'll get really raspy by the administrators after this. So let's look at our this journey. First of all, I want to point out, and I put this up here, and this is just a brief list of the kinds of legislations we had to deal with in the last 4 or 5 years. It's overwhelming, the amount of legislation as a school district you have to constantly look at and try to put into place. And it many times costs us money to do that because it's not a mandate that will have money attached to it. So if you look here, we have mandates that require teacher evaluation, principal evaluation, third grade guarantee, accountability structures and testing, all the way down to epinephrine, auto injectors. We have to have a policy. Legislation requires us to have a policy about how we handle those. So it's really fascinating to look at all that legislation and think, how in the world do we put all that into practice? Sometimes it's overwhelming. But the neat thing about it is, as a district, we're still focused on student achievement. That's what we continue to maintain our focus upon. One of the things that leads our focus, and I have more lengthy descriptions of these things, is our vision as a district of what a student leaving our district, a graduate, looks like. That's critical for us to have, and that vision leads us to our services that we provide our students. Students leaving us need to be leaders. They need to be critical thinkers and problem solvers in this world. They need to be college-ready or career-ready learners. They need to be adaptable and productive in order to go out into our community or the wider community and be participative in that community. They need to be responsible decision makers. And finally, they need to be skilled at communicating with diverse populations and in diverse settings. We always talk about district data. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. The district report card, the state report cards have been changing constantly for the past few years, and we constantly try to run as fast as we can to make sure we're performing well on those state report cards. But you'll see here that this is just a snapshot of our last year's report card, which came out this year. So it's based off last year's data. Our achievement data is shown in two areas: performance index and the number or the percentage of indicators met. Interestingly enough, the performance index was changed the way it was calculated by the state 2 years ago. When before it was changed, we were achieving at about 102%. They changed the calculation, and now we're at 84.4, and the increase continues to go up. So we're adapting to the way they've changed the calculation. So that gave us a B. The number of indicators met, 87.5%, that gave us a B as well. The graduation rate, again, the way the graduation rate was calculated was changed 2 years ago, and it followed a cohort instead of a straight calculation. We had to change some of the ways that we reported that data, which hurt us. The first year we got a D. Last year we moved that up to 88.8%. 2 students more and we would have received a B. So 2 students hurt us and dropped our grade to a C. And then there's a 5-year calculation as well. And we'll see that continue to go up as we figure out the way the state wants us to report that information. Our progress, and this is really good information for the district because it tells us about our program. And this is something we use a great deal, and the data under this is probably more important for us. This is our district's average progress for students in math and reading, grades 4 through 8. You can see overall, we got an A. In our gifted category, we got an A. Our lowest 20% of our achieving students, we got a C, and then our students with disabilities, we got a C. And we're going to talk a little more about that because that relates to our gap closing. There's this achievement gap that occurs between high-performing students and low-performing students, and in our district, we're having some difficulty with our lower-achieving students, and that are our special education students achieving as well as our higher-performing students. And we're working really hard to make that occur. The other area, that subgroup that we're having some difficulty with is our low socioeconomic status students aren't achieving as well as our higher achieving students. And again, that's something we're working on to bridge that achievement gap between those groups. So we got a D in that area, and we're working hard to increase that letter grade. Our future report cards are going to be very different. Again, they're changing. There's going to be a category called Preparedness for Success, and it's going to be looking at college or career readiness. And there'll be indicators on there related to SAT and ACT scores and other indicators. There'll also be some K through 3 literacy indicators that will be on the report card. It looks like we'll have about 36 indicators on the new report card. Again, we're hearing that that will probably come out instead of at the beginning of the school year, probably January, February next school year. One of the goals of the district is to ensure that every student in kindergarten through third grade is highly proficient at reading and literacy, because we know that is critical for their learning. After third grade, not that they stop learning to read, they actually start reading to learn. And if they're not reading at a highly proficient level, that's one of the things that impacts that achievement gap for them in all content areas. So we're working very hard to make sure when students leave the third grade, they're proficient or above proficient at reading and literacy. We closely monitor the achievement plans, plan for instructional practices, and deliver targeted remediation and intervention with those students. We start out with students entering kindergarten about 50% behind in language development. Many of our students enter kindergarten with about a 3-year-old language development. We know that's a precursor to literacy and actually a precursor to the ability to learn as well. We start working right away with that, with those kindergarten students, and what's really impressive is that by third grade, 99.3 or higher % of our students are achieving at grade level or above in reading and literacy. That's pretty phenomenal. So, to give you an example, last year, 75 of our students on the fall assessment were behind or below proficient, and by the end of the year, we had one student that was falling, not meeting the benchmark. This year we have a huge group of third grade students. It's a really big class. And we started the year out with 120. We're following them and tracking their progress through some assessments and things that we use, tools we use. Right now, only 40 students are tracking below benchmark. And by the end of the year, I guarantee you, we'll be down to 1 or 2 that won't be at benchmark. So that's pretty impressive, I think. So we're proud of that. We work really hard to make sure our students are at benchmark and reading with high levels. Another goal in the district is to engage students around digital content. And we're working on that constantly because we want to move to more and more digital content that's engaging for our students. If you don't know some of these terms up here, these are the kinds of things that we're using in our school. I'll read a few of them to see if you recognize any of them. Prezi, Flipbook, I have Flipbook twice. iMovie, Dropbox, Digo, Poplet, Delicious, Google Drive, Linspace, Khan's Academy, Moodle, Animoto, Podcasts, Evernote, Book Builder, Digital Storytelling, Edmodo, GarageBand. Those are some of the things that we're moving to use in our schools. How many people know all those? Interesting. Another focus in the district is we're working to reinvent learning environments through the learning spaces that we're creating with students. And that's critical as we move into a new facility that has a little different design. So we're doing that through trying to build flexible learning spaces that are really centered on student-centered learning. And that's really important for us because we know that if the student's in charge of their own learning, guess what? They're going to learn at a much higher level. And there's a bunch of other things we're doing: project-based learning, problem-based learning, inductive learning, inquiry-based learning, relational and real-life learning. All of those things we're trying to put into practice in our schools. The goal is to promote collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity with our students. We're starting this work. We have a learning lab at the middle school that we just put together. It's a high-tech, rich lab that students will be working in, and our teachers are working to learn how to use. We have at Liberty We've changed some of the designs of the classrooms, and teachers are working in collaborative spaces and much more flexible learning spaces that are used in many different ways. And it's pretty amazing. We're working hard to integrate technology right into the classroom instead of it being pulled out into a separate lab, which doesn't really make sense because you want to learn in the context in which that it occurs. Our goal is to get students to self-regulate and to self-monitor. We're really focused on trying to define effort for our students so they see the relationship between effort and achievement. We're working hard to increase opportunities for students district-wide. Give you a couple examples of that. At the high school, in 2012-13, we had 72 students in AP courses. Next year, we're going to have right under 240 students. That's what we predict. Look at the increase of AP courses that we're offering our students and the number of students involved in those. Outstanding work. And we continue to do that throughout the system. We're looking at the kinds of offerings we're offering our middle school students as well, and then also our elementary students. College credit, our students can get college credit right on our campus, and we're working to increase that as quickly as we can. It takes a little bit of work to make sure that matches with our curriculum and so forth, but we're doing it. Right now, in 2 years, our goal, in a couple of years, hopefully 2 years, our goal is to have enough credit at the high school so students can get 2 years of college credit right on our campus. Currently, we have 9 English credits, 7 math credits, and 5 credits in the areas of science, social studies, and Spanish that students can receive on our campus. Another area we're working hard on is to build those relationships with our community, parents, business community, all of the community that's involved in the school, civic leaders and so forth. And one of the ways we do that is by having a strong communication plan. We have increased the number of newsletters that go out. We communicate with parents by email. We're communicating with the community in various ways. We're using social media very effectively. Our website has amazing information on it for our parents and community to look at. We're working really hard to make sure we're communicating well with all of our constituents. Talk a little bit about the new facility and our current facilities, and you'll see some images over here that you're welcome to come up and look at, and I'll hang out over there if you want to come and ask questions. And I know we're out of time, so I'll go quickly. So I'm going to share a few bits of information with what I wanted to tell you. On March 26th at 7 o'clock in the high school media room, right? Multi-purpose room. Yeah. In the high school multi-purpose room, we're going to have a community forum, and you're all invited to come to that and hear more information about our new schools. And we'll have a lot more information there. This is just going to be a fast snippet of information for you to see. So let's start talking about the new facilities, some things that you may or may not know. First of all, our new facility is going to house 2,100 of our students. That's huge. That's half the population we have in the district. So by the community passing the bond issue and looking at this, it's going to be a big facility. It will house 2,100 students, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. So it's pretty exciting. That will require us then to redistrict kindergarten and preschool, and then move 1st and 2nd grade to Liberty. Also, the facility will have approximately 250,000 square foot within it. Most of that will be academic areas. Pretty exciting. One of the things we're we felt we needed to do is because it's going to be such a large facility, we wanted to build within that smaller learning communities so students didn't feel this ominous presence when they go into the facility and have such large groups. So we're going to have smaller learning communities within the facility. And then those smaller learning communities, the spaces, we're actually changing some of the thinking about what classroom space is going to be called. We want to call them learning studios with making spaces, collaborative spaces, and some more traditional classrooms as well, and then tech-rich spaces for our students. So it's going to be a little different, not collaborative spaces between them and so forth. We'll have a cafetorium that will seat around 1,200 and provide a different venue for our performing arts and for our community to use as well. We'll have a new gym space that will be district gym space used by our whole district, as well as gym space that will be community gym space that will be used by our community. And then, of course, we'll have the stadium as well. This is an image of the main entry, and you'll see as you walk into the front of the building, there'll be a lobby there, and to the right is over here as the administrative offices. In this back corner across the hall, there'll be a fabrication lab. Going through that part of the building will lead you back to the 5, 6, 7, 8 wing of the building. On top here, there'll be project labs and an art lab that will provide services to the 5, 6, 7, 8 wing of the building. Going back this way will be the cafetorium and community spaces, the gym space, and then back to the northwest corner will be the 3-4 wing of the building. I didn't think Mark would. I'd be lost 98% of the time without Margaret. She's my administrative assistant. This is the site plan. The site plan, and I'll quickly go through it. If you come off Bainbridge, the Bainbridge will be widened and there'll be turn lanes added there. There'll be 2 access points off of Bainbridge, here and up here, that will go through our facility. There'll be a parent route here, here, sorry, and then a parent route up here, and then our busing route here. We're trying to keep all of those separate to be more efficient. We will also have access to Center Ridge through Jaycox here, and some design. We're not sure. We're still working through that with the city. They've been very helpful and supportive in helping us get this done. So that will go up there. Over here is our stormwater management. It's about double the size it needs to be for code. One of the things that we will be doing is tying in the existing developed 40 acres to that storm water detention basin. And we will also, our new facilities will go through that stormwater management system. And then we'll change, because right now our stormwater is actually dumped right into the Robinson ditch, which is not good for the community or for us. And so that will improve that condition greatly. Also, there's another little clean water detention basin here. This is the stadium. This is the 3-4 wing of the building. These are the community spaces we talked about. The administrative and project labs here, 2-story, and then the 3-4 wing of the building. This is the existing high school. Wilcox will be gone. This space in here is a plaza that will connect the middle school, the new school, to the high school and to the stadium. This is just an image of one of the media collaboratives that will be at the center of the 3-4 wing of the building. so you can kind of get a feel for that. There'll be a space back here for students to do presentations, sit, read books, study, other things, and then spaces here. We don't know the exact look of that, but it will look something like that. This is an aerial image from the north looking to the south, and of course the biggest thing you see here is the stadium, but I really want you to look back at the academic parts of the building. This is the gym spaces and the cafetorium, locker room spaces over here, the 3-4 wing of the building, the administrative offices here, and then the project labs, and over here the 5, 6, 7, 8 wing of the building. And what really is cool is you get a good view of this plaza that will connect all three of those. In the past, we haven't been able to put money, due to our finances, into our current facilities. So we've put together a facility plan now that we're more fiscally stable, that will allow us to take the buildings that will remain in our inventory and upgrade them. We're looking at making them more energy efficient, looking at HVAC systems, lighting systems, alarm systems. We're looking at our parking lots, and we're looking at putting some money into those to make sure they're well maintained over the next however many years, and that's going to be critical to us going forward. And again, we haven't had the opportunity to do that in the past. One other thing before we leave. We have a walk-through for you to see, a fly-through. This is the overall site. This is the new building over here, the existing high school, the stadium. We're flying around it. You'll see the back, over here, the 3-4 entrance, the community entrance. This will be a service area, main entrance. That's the 5, 6, 7, 8 wing of the building, academic wing. Flying in, you'll come into the 5, 6, 7, 8 wing of the building on the lower floor, and it'll immediately show you that collaborative media area. This space goes through in their learning studios on each side. And here's looking out over the stadium and that plaza. These are the project labs, and it'll take a peek into an art lab. It's that main lobby with the administrative wing over here, and then this will go into the cafeteria. Those are the students that were just here performing. This will take us into the main gym space. That's a movable wall. So this can be opened up and you can divide it long sideways and have four gyms going across or 4 courts. This is going back into the 3-4 academic wing.